Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. As many of you know, Harry is on his spare tour and has already done 3 interviews. Of those interviews, ITV, to me, was the most explosive. It is clear that Harry is pushing certain narratives to manipulate the public opinion. He is attempting to control the narrative, even if it's not true, in order to push his agenda, whether it be for security, whether it be for more money, more opportunities, and to change this perception of being self-serving hypocrites who cannot be trusted. And the way he's attempting to do this is by gaslighting, in order to gaslight the family as well as the public, in order to put pressure on the family to get what he wants. So what is gaslighting? Gaslighting is a malicious form of mental and emotional wreckage when someone is manipulating you to plant seeds of self-doubt and alter your perception of reality. The way that they do this can take on the forms as using a mask of confidence, assertiveness, and/or fake compassion to make you believe that you have it all wrong. They will deny events. They will refuse to acknowledge your feelings and thoughts or opinion. And a big one here that Harry and Meghan have a habit of doing is twisting the narrative and reshaping it to their reality, making everybody else question their own reality. And the biggest form of gaslighting that Harry and Meghan use is telling blatant lies. Ultimately, what it boils down to is being able to deteriorate and eat away people's ability to make judgments. And it's obvious that this is the control and power that Meghan and Harry want to have over people. But the way that they're packaging and spinning it is as if they are thought leaders and influencers, because ultimately that's kind of what Meghan wants to do. And that's because she's lazy. She thinks that putting her name on stuff is enough to get stuff done and make a real impact. Let's take a look now at Harry's interview with Tom Bradby and identifying a few ulterior motives. We're almost towards the end of this interview, and this is where Tom Bradby starts to turn up the heat on the questions. First up, Tom Bradby starts to challenge Harry on some of the hypocrisy, but the way that he phrases it's very delicate in his choice of words. Harry picks up on it because you can see he's not amused.
You have railed against invasions of your privacy all your life. But the accusation will be, here are you invading the privacy of your most nearest and dearest without permission. That'll be the accusation.
Look at him. He's angry, having to justify his actions. Remember, he believes, rule for thee, but not for me.
That'll be the accusation from the people that don't understand or haven't or don't want to believe that my family have been briefing the press.
I want to see the receipts.
Technically, he's not lying because Meghan is now his family and she has been on record leaking stories to the press. So let me bring forth the receipt. So William, as a test, told Harry that the Queen's coffin was going to return to London by the royal train. And he only told Harry this. Harry then immediately turned around and leaked it to Omid Scobie, who blurted it out on TV.
You're a leaker too. You're upset that the royal family leaks on you. You leak just as much as they do. You use Omid Scobie, your little stenographer at Harper's Bazaar. You use People magazine. But we all see what you're doing while you claim you have clean hands and you absolutely do not.
Twirl on that.
You see, where Harry's failing here is to provide justification for his behavior in doing what he did by invading his brother and his family's privacy. Instead,
I'm sorry that me owning my story and being able to tell my own story is upsetting to some people.
And here is Harry gaslighting. What he's doing is throwing in positive reinforcement, not only to confuse the audience, but then also projecting his shortcomings or misdeeds onto the people that don't believe him and his story. Almost saying, well, it's my story. I'm coming forward with truth and honesty. It's you guys that have the issue, not me.
But I have to rely on the truth. And I've done everything humanly possible in private for it not to get to this stage. But now I get to tell my story. And as I said, Tom, none of
Bradby is like all of us sitting there saying, but your truth and your story in our world, in our heads, represents lies. The man is visibly frustrated.
None of this is intentionally to harm anyone in my family. But I certainly feel as though that we never needed to be here.
Yeah, I think we would have been here regardless, because the wife is the one who is behind creating all this division. If they had gotten what they wanted, the half in, half out, they still had their deals lined up. They still had every intention to move to America and monetize off of the royal brand. He's just pissed off that the queen said, no, you cannot do that to this institution. And he's so cocky. And this is that mask that they're talking about of confidence, assertiveness. So Bradby defends William here. And you can see that Harry is like, okay, whatever, that's your opinion, but I still don't care. I am justified for what I did.
It is harmful to him. I mean, people may choose not to accept it or whatever, but it is harmful to him.
Harry's angry here. He's pursing his lips and, he's shaking his head almost as if he wants to say something, but he doesn't because it probably result in escalation. Harry's well aware that what he did was hurtful, but he does not agree with Tom in the sense that he shouldn't have done it.
If he was sitting in the room, I think he would say, look, the reason that we had that argument in the cottage was about kind of issues with staffing, and I'm not going to go into that. Issues with staffing, and I'm not going to go.
This right here, Tom Bradby knew about the bullying report, and I will bet that this was a topic or a question that he could not ask or touch. As you can see, he was quick to back off and say, we're not going to talk about it here. It's in the book.
Your wife's a bully. Her former press communications person who worked for both you and your brother, Jason Knopf, is on the record about the bullying she committed against people who were younger than she was, who were less powerful than she was within the palace, who she made cry all the time.
It kind of things.
Quite a list of things, assumptions.
Well, I'm just saying I think that would be the counter narrative on the other side. This isn't the truth. The truth is more nuanced.
What I see Bradby trying to do is get Harry to sit in William's shoes, to understand how this could have taken a toll on him. Because after reading it, all of us are saying, how could he do that to his brother? And looking from the outside, if you were in William's shoes, you would equally feel remorseful, and it's unfathomable that you would do that to your family member. And he's trying to get him to sit in those shoes, but unsuccessfully doing so.
And all the rest of it, right? That would be the defense.
Well, the truth, supposedly, at the moment, has been there's only one side to this story, right?
This dude is such a sadist. He knows very well that William cannot speak, nor can the rest of the family. And the fact that there's only one side that's out there, which is his side, and nobody's going to challenge him, he feels secretly that he's getting away with this manipulation. And to see him just smirk as if, yeah, there's only one side to it, right? Like, yeah, nobody's going to challenge me now.
But there's two sides to every story.
But I don't think he wants it to come out because look how quickly his face shifts, almost like serious, like if the palace releases the bullying report, if people come forward that they bullied and are able to break that NDA contract, like he knows that people are not going to talk because of those agreements that are in there, but he should be worried because if there's a way that they can get out of it and they can share their story, that's going to be a whole nother can of worms that's going to get open. So Harry proceeds to talk about all the work that he has put in to work on managing the trauma that he's suffered. We get it, Harry. We know that you're a big advocate for mental health and you're working on yourself, and that's something that he will have to do for the rest of his life. But just because he is working on his mental health does not mean that he is a specialist in order to be telling other people that they should be working on their mental health. And he's actually put it out there that because he's doing therapy, then his family should also be doing therapy. Harry proceeds then to reveal unknowingly what he's actually trying to do.
Again, in the book, I talk about unconscious bias and being called a racist by the British press. Look how different that is now.
He finds it funny now that his family is being called racist, and the whole entire time when Meghan made those accusations in 2021 on Oprah's interview, they said nothing, and they allowed the media to run with it, and they kept their mouths shut. And now all of a sudden they're coming out backpedaling, saying that they never said the word racist. It's unconscious bias. There were many times that Harry could have denounced this and opportunities to denounce it with people on social media by telling their supporters and fans to stop sending death threats to his family, to call out that he doesn't want people attacking one another or hate online. It could simply just make a statement and have impact, but he chose not to. He allowed the attacks to go on. So this gaslighting, and in this situation, we have retelling of the narrative and blatantly flat out lying to cover up his tracks.
Because I couldn't understand why am I being called a racist.
Maybe because you have done things more than once that have come across as racist. And your wife is equally as racist. She doesn't accept that she's black. She's only using it for her advantage because it's trendy right now. If you were all for diversity, how come Archwell and Megan's podcast, Archetypes, the production team and your staff are all white? So yeah, Harry, you're still racist. Stop exploiting minorities for your grift. The next thing that Harry says, you can tell that it wasn't the fact that he was called a racist. He doesn't care about that. He cares about his image and his brand and being called that. Even though he is deep down a racist, he doesn't want people saying it to his face. We all know what a big baby he is whenever he hears any type of criticism about himself. So what does he do in the situation? He uses the media to clean it up.
But I made an active choice to ensure that the British press and the public knew that I wasn't, because that was a horrible place to be, a horrible thing to be called.
And what do you think is going on right now? It's no different from when he was called a racist to now him being called a liar, a traitor, and everything under the kitchen sink for what he is. This is a full-on campaign to not only get the Americans to have faith into him, but also to sort of smooth things out in the UK because he recognizes that people hate him so much because of the hurt and the maliciousness that he has caused over the last 6 years. Look, Harry knows what he's doing. This is one big manipulation. And in the United States, the interviews that he's been giving, he's so focused on the fact that Meghan is a black woman. But in this ITV, he calls Meghan biracial. So what is it, Harry? Or are you just using the minorities again to gain favorability?
That's racist!
I mean, one might say, look, you haven't so much burned your bridges as taken a flamethrower to them by being dishonest in the book. They might say to you, look, you've just...
Harry honestly does not want to listen to the pain that he's inflicted on his family because he doesn't think he did anything wrong, or he knows what he did and he's justified in his mind to do it.
So any chance of reconciliation?
Well, they've shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile up until this point. And I'm not sure how honesty is burning bridges. Silence only allows the abuser to abuse.
So why did you stay silent when everybody was calling your family racist and were issuing threats out to your family? You stayed silent and you allowed the abuse of your fans to go attack your family.
When Prince Philip was dying in the hospital, you sat down with Oprah and called the royal family a bunch of racists. And you didn't even have the decency to rule him out, or the Queen, when you knew he was in the hospital. And very elderly man, your own grandfather. No.
You have stayed silent all throughout the Netflix mockumentary, allowing your grandmother's legacy to be disrespected and be tarnished with a false narrative that your wife created, in which people are now demanding reparations from your family. So why not give the $100 million that you were given because you're such a champion for the minorities? Why don't you do that? Because you no longer have unconscious bias as long as there's dollar signs.
Right? So I don't know how staying silent is ever going to make things better.
Actually, I'm going to agree with him on this one because it's not looking so good for Harry today because he remained silent for a few years about the racism claims, and now he's getting dragged through the media, which of course he deserves. And notice his bratty wife is nowhere to be found. She is letting Harry hang out to dry. Of course, this is typical Meghan, keeping her hands clean of any wrongdoing, even though she's the one behind all of it.
You and she both lie. A lot, especially your wife. You suggested the royals are racist, as I mentioned, without a scintilla of truth. Now you reverse that, and you blame the press for that too. All right? By the way, these two, as they now claim that they never called the royals racists, that's what Harry's claiming, that neither he nor his wife ever called the royals racists, despite what we heard in the Oprah interview. They accepted an award like 2 weeks ago in New York City for standing up to, and I quote, the structural racism within the royal family. That was Carrie Kennedy, whose family was presenting them with the award. Did they stand up and say, this is an outrage? Our family's not racist. We never said such a thing. No, they took the award and loved every second of it. So spare me now that the blowback has been bad, that you didn't call them racist because you did. We saw it. It's on tape. You constantly lecture the so-called little people on how they need to be better people, more like you, we guess, while showing zero appreciation for their problems, right? Harry had the nerve to lecture us on white supremacy and white privilege. Then their Netflix documentary calls all Brexiters racist if you were in favor of Brexit, which the majority of Great Britain residents were. You're racist.
That pretty much sums it up. What do you guys think? Let me know below. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I was such a fraud.